Hey everybody, welcome to the Maximum Libertarian Podcast. I am Brian, and today's guest speaker is Robby Wells. If you want to find out more about him, let me say his web address real quick. It's runwithrobby.com. He is the independent candidate that is running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in the 6th District of the Commonwealth of Virginia. He goes and tells us a little bit about himself. He goes over a few of issues on his platform. Listen to what he has to say. If you like what he says, please help him out. As many of you know who have either ran or have worked for a third-party candidate or an independent candidate, it's extremely difficult. Democrats and Republicans love to march around and say how we must protect democracy, but they will do everything in their power to make sure that democracy is snuffed out by ballot access laws, by having polls done, leaving off the candidate that they're also going to be running against. Small things like that mean a lot. Here in Virginia, I'll give you an inside baseball thing. $20,000 to $30,000 it took for Chase Oliver, plus the help of volunteers, to get on the ballot here. And that's for 5,000 signatures. Now, up in New York City, I think of New York City, and I think of the entire New York State. It's 60,000 signatures, but you have to get them in 6 weeks. Here in Virginia, we started January 1st, and we had until August 23rd for 5,000 signatures. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, when Larry Sharpe in 2018 got the percentage that was needed to make the Libertarian Party a major party in the state of New York, they rushed to their legislative. They passed the thing. They moved the goalpost. They said, no, you hit the number, but it don't count. You got to hit this number. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go and you say, I'm going to vote for the D or the R, I'm just voting for my team, the colored jersey, because I want to win. But you sit around and you say how bad the Democrats and Republicans are. You say Congress is filled with trash and they should all be in prison. The only way you can fix it is you've got to start voting for who you truly like. So if you like what you hear from Robby Wells, I beg you, please go to Run with Robby. Get in contact with his campaign. 6th District here in Virginia is extremely large because it's been gerrymandered. Why is it gerrymandered? Because, we got to make sure that this area is red and this area is blue. We can't have some other idea because they've had years and years and years of failing ideas. And now we've got $35 trillion in debt. That's not including the unfunded stuff. So now we got someone, maybe you'll like what you hear. So let's all sit back, grab your adult beverage, grab your cup of coffee, iced tea, whatever it may be. Let's listen to the soothing sound of Robby Wells. All right, joining us here today at the Roanoke Valley Libertarian meeting is Robby Wells. He is running as an independent candidate here in the 6th District for the House of Representatives. He's here to tell us about himself, his ideas, his platforms, and all that. If y'all have any questions, I guess we'll wait to let him speak, and then we'll do the Q&A afterwards. All right? So, Mr. Wells, go for it.
Well, the very first person that I ever met in the Libertarian Party was a man by the name of T-Mott, Derek Grayson. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's actually run for U.S. Senate in Georgia a couple of times. But I met him when I spoke at Paul Fest back in 2012. Ron Paul was running for president, and of course he's a libertarian-minded guy. He was running as a Republican, and of course he didn't win the nomination. But I met T-Mott, and he actually had a band. and they were performing at Paul Fest. And so I got to talking with him, and he said, you know, I like what you stand for. He says, I'm in it with Ron Paul to the end, because he didn't abandon his friends. In fact, we did a documentary, and he said exactly that. He said, but if I was still in it after that, then he would come and work with me, and he did. So he was the very first libertarian that I ever came in contact with. Now, when I first got into politics, it was back in 2012. I had just finished a coaching career for 20 years, and I coached college football, mainly in South Carolina. When we were talking about South Carolina, I literally have people in every county in that state. So, but had a great time with that, made a lot of impact with a lot of people. But I knew from a very young age that I was going to one day run for office. And so I've actually run for president a few times. But that first time I was an independent and actually sought the nomination of the Constitution Party, which is kind of similar in ways to the Libertarian Party because they are constitutional. Okay, that's about it. You know, there's differences, you know, outside of that. But when you start looking at my platform is all about following the Constitution, but at the same time, making sure that we withhold and return the liberties and freedoms back to the people of the United States. You know, I was very fortunate as a child just to be here. I'm a miracle to be here. Okay, there was a 50-50 chance I wasn't going to be here. I was adopted. Okay, my birth mom was a college student, and she was a music major, very, very talented. Everybody knew she was going to sell out concert halls. She was going to be, you know, a big star. But like most young girls, she fell in love. The guy was older. He was married. He was a World War II veteran. He was 20 years older than her. Okay, he had jumped out of airplanes into Normandy. Okay, and actually fought against Hitler. I'm fortunate that he actually made it back because half those guys did, if you think about it. So I'm really a miracle just to be here to be able to talk to you today. But I was adopted by a minister and his wife. We were around the South a good bit, but ended up settling in South Carolina when I started high school, and that was back in 1982. But when I was a young kid, my father actually worked with one of our former presidents, and that was Jimmy Carter, when he was the governor of Georgia. And my father sat on a committee that oversaw the special needs kids in the state of Georgia, and it was a great fit because my older sister was special needs. Okay, she was blind, she was partially deaf, and mentally she had the capacity of a 3-year-old when she was a full adult. So she was not supposed to live past the age of 25, and she lived to be 43. So she was a miracle within herself. So when people say that miracles aren't real, I say, well, you know, I don't know now. I've seen several of them. I'm one of them myself, several times over. My sister was. I did go into education, but I knew that when Jimmy Carter won, and I was just an 8-year-old kid, but a couple of days before the election, we were in his home in Plains, Georgia. And I was playing with Amy. Amy and I are about the same age. And Jimmy came in. He was running against Gerald Ford. And of course, it was a tumultuous time. I'm sure you remember with Nixon resigning to avoid impeachment, the whole deal. Gerald Ford takes over. He was never even elected.
Right.
And he's all of a sudden the president of the United States. And then it's up against him and Jimmy Carter. And if it had been 2 more weeks, Gerald Ford probably would have won that because he had come back in the polls. But he was lagging so far, he never really caught up. So Jimmy Carter won. But I remember a couple of days before, we're there in Plains. Jimmy Carter comes in. He should have been on the road campaigning, but he wasn't. And I looked up at him as an 8-year-old kid, and I said, "You're going to be the president of the United States." And he looked down at me and he says, "One day you will be too." And it just kind of stuck with me that I wanted to get in and do what he was doing. So I became a news junkie, you know. I've never been one that really, because of the way I was raised. Now, I was raised Southern Baptist. I was raised a born-again Christian. But I was raised to love, honor, and respect all people, even people that believe different from me, look different from me, which I think kind of goes with our First Amendment. Okay? It really does. You can, you know, according to the First Amendment, you can say what you want. You can worship the way you want. You can not even worship if you don't want to do that, okay? And that's fine, and that's good too, okay? But if we can just all have a little bit of tolerance for each other, I think that's a good thing. I've always said, whether you are black or white, Asian, Hispanic, young or old, male or female, a member of the LGBTQ community, whatever you identify as, whether you're a third party, independent, Democrat, Republican, whatever your religion may be, here in America, we're all very unique. We're all different. And we can celebrate our differences because we got one common bond. I may not be a part of your party, but we're all Americans. Okay? And I think that we need to all kind of come together and unify on a few things. Okay? I think that there are a few things that a lot of people in this country love. Math. When I was in school, I loved it. I loved geometry. Remember the bell curve? Bell curve's like this, okay? And out here you got the fringe, and over here you got the fringe. This was your A's, and this was your F's over here, right? And everything in the middle was kind of the average and the way things go. Well, it's kind of like that in politics today. You got the far left, you got the far right. That's the people on the fringe, but everybody else is kind of right here in the middle, okay? Whether you're a moderate Democrat, Republican, independent, third party, we may have some differences, but there's some commonalities there, okay? I believe we can all get behind the fact that we all want to be treated with respect. I think we can all get behind the fact that we love our country. We love our family, okay? I believe we can all get behind the fact that we don't want to be invaded by some other country, okay? And we want to see a good, strong economy. Now, how we get there, we may differ on. We may differ a little bit on that. But if we can get back to agreeing to disagree and being agreeable when we do disagree, then I think that we've come a long way. Now, I do have a plan, a great plan in my humble opinion, and this comes from, let's go back to T-Mott, because he was one of the first ones that heard this plan when I was doing a radio interview. You guys may remember in December of 2012, Sandy Hook, the children that were put in an unthinkable situation, and some of those babies that are no longer with us now. And I remember when the news broke on TV, and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. I had tears in my eyes, and I had just retired from coaching 2 years earlier. And I said, there's got to be something I can do. And I've always been one, when there's a big problem, I want to look for a solution. I don't want to just whine about it, okay? Because if all you do is talk about problems and you don't do anything about it, then you're just whining. So I sat back, I took a pause, and I did. I came up with a plan that's never been implemented nationwide. Now, it's been implemented in little pockets here and there. It's working in Chicago. It's working in parts of Texas. Okay, but my plan is called Vets for Kids. My plan will do three things. It will protect every child in every school across this country, so we no longer have gun violence in schools. It will protect everyone's Second Amendment right. Okay? There we go. We're getting back to the Constitution and our founding fathers, what they set for us. And at the same time, it's going to provide jobs for over 500,000 veterans. We're going to screen them and train them, but we're going to put the right ones in place. Every school across this country is guardians for our children. No, it's not posse comitatus, because they're civilians now, okay? They're veterans. But who better to do that with our kids? They've already taken an oath, just like me. I'm a veteran too. I served in the Army National Guard during the wars with Afghanistan and Iraq. And now I'm in the Coast Guard Auxiliary at Smith Mountain Lake. But who better to protect our children than our veterans? They've taken an oath to protect the people of the United States, and it's not just when they're in uniform. It's a lifetime oath. I took it myself, so I know. So that's what I'd like to see. Is it a perfect plan? Probably not. Is there a perfect utopia anywhere? So I've got that plan. I know that you guys have probably, if you've done your research on me, you've seen some stuff about the Creative Society. I'm going to tell you this straight up right now. It's a great publicity stunt for us. We got millions of views on TikTok because of some of those videos that we put out there, which is great. Some of the stuff was pretty good, okay? They want to clean up the environment. That's great. I want to clean up the environment too. You know, whether the scientists are right or whether they're wrong, I want to make sure that there's a planet here for my children and my children's children, okay? And by the way, I've got over 1,000 kids. I'm probably one of the only people, well, no, there's other ones like me out there. It's called coaches. All my former players are my kids. So when people say, how many kids you got? I've got over 1,000 kids. And I get wedding invitations and I get graduation invitations from all of them. You know, can you come to this? My wife's having a baby, coach. Can you come check us out? Yep, sure enough. You know, whatever I can do. I've got kids literally all over the world now. I've got them in Hawaii. I've got them everywhere. So I do have plans for that. We do have a problem with our border. I know the Libertarians probably would like to see just an open border. I don't know if we're ready for that yet in this world. Maybe one day. That'd be great and good. The reason I say that we're not ready is because of crime. There's a high crime level. But I do have a great plan for that would, I believe you win with people. You don't win with things. You know, the former president wanted to build the wall. Okay, that seems very exclusive when you build a wall, which is great. Okay, maybe that'll work in some cases, but I remember on January 6, 2021, a lot of his people climbed a wall to get into the Capitol. So you can climb a wall. I believe you win with people. So my plan would actually double our border patrol without raising taxes, because what I would do is I would cut several departments that are unconstitutional, and the main one would be ICE, because I do think it's unconstitutional that you can go in because of a couple of knee-jerk reactions that occurred after 9/11. Some legislation that was put in place, but you've got federal agents now that can actually detain somebody indefinitely without due cause. That's not constitutional, guys. And you need people that are actually going to fight for that. You're not going to get that from a Democrat or a Republican, because they're beholding to these special interest groups that are paying them huge amounts of money. Now, just like any other third-party independent candidate out there, we have to work extremely hard just to get on the ballot. And we did. Right here in this district, we had to go get 1,000 valid signatures just to be on the ballot. Okay? And nobody really knew who I was except my campaign manager, which is Charlene's husband, Aaron. Aaron and I literally, for how many months was it, Charlene? About 4 months, every day we would go out and we would just stay steady with it and get about 30 signatures a day. And then all of a sudden we had 1,500, and we submitted the 1,500 thinking that would be enough. And it was. We ended up, they count them all, even if they get over 1,000. I told the guy up in Richmond, you don't have to keep counting. He says, no, it's the law, we have to. But we ended up with over 1,100 valid signatures. But here's what we found in this district, and I don't know if you guys realize how red this district is. Maybe not right here in the city of Roanoke, but if you go, the district goes from Salem all the way up past Winchester on 81. I mean, it's long. It's over 200 miles long. But it's very red. It's very Republican. But out of the 1,000 good signatures that we got, all those people that signed, I would say at least 90% of them were Republicans that were fed up. So we got a chance. Okay? Now, the Democrat that's running, nice guy. Okay, I actually had a chance to visit with him this past week up in Buena Vista. Very nice guy. Does he have a chance to win? Probably not. I'm just keeping it real, okay, with this district. In the past 40 years, I believe that the Democrat in this race is the highest they've gotten is like 22%. Okay? But we got a chance as an independent. We really do, because the actual incumbent is a Republican, and we were just hearing that we really don't have representation right here in our district. So one of the things I would like to do here in this district is open up 81, Interstate 81. It's very treacherous between here and DC. In fact, it's treacherous down to Christiansburg. Okay? So what I'd like to do is see a high-speed rail built. It would create thousands of jobs while it was being built, which would take a good long time. It would also clean up the environment. It would leave 81 to the trucks. Just last year on Virginia roadways, over 900 people were killed. I don't know if y'all knew that. But it would eliminate a lot of deaths, deaths that don't have to occur. And it would clean up the environment. So that's one thing that I would love to be able to one day, when I am dead and gone, say that I left this world a little bit better place than when I got here. And that's one thing my father always told me as a little kid. Always leave a job better off than when you first got it. Leave the house better off when you first got it. If you rent a house, when you leave, when your lease is up, leave it looking better than when you got there. So that's just an old Southern thing. But I do believe in loving all people, trying to find common ground with all people. And I believe that one of the reasons that I was so successful as a coach and we won all those championships is because, on those teams, we didn't care if the guy next to us on that offensive line, if he was white or black. We didn't care what his daddy did or his mama did, or you know what we cared about? We cared about tearing that guy up across the line on the other side of the football. Seriously, we worked together, and I think that we as a country could probably learn a little bit from that. I believe that with the gridlock that you've got in Washington right now, think about it. Senate's going to be about 50-50 Democrat, Republican. So is Congress. It's going to be about 50-50. You guys help me get elected as an independent. We'll be the swing vote. We'll be the deciding vote a lot of times. And not just set precedents and set the direction for the 6th district, but set the direction for the entire country right here in this seat because I'm an independent. So I'm looking for people to help. I know y'all are the Libertarian Party. I know I'm an independent. But, if there's enough common ground, we'd love to have some help. That's about it. That's about all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll ask you some questions real quick, if that's
I'll keep
cool.
that on. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess my first question, your father worked with Jimmy Carter.
Correct.
Was your family Democrat? And then what made you go run as a constitutional? What was through the political parties? How did you flow?
Okay. Well, I've run for president during 4 cycles. Twice as an independent, now in my very first time back in 12. And then in 16 and 20, I actually ran as a Democrat. And here's why. There's some things. I called myself a new breed Democrat because I would take the best from both sides. I've never seen a bird fly with one wing. I believe there's some good stuff in the left wing and the right wing. Okay? The right wing, they want to balance the budget. Right, good. Yeah, me too. I want to balance my checkbook. How about y'all? You want to make sure you got more money in than you got going out? Yeah, of course. That's good. But at the same time, I think that, we've got some basic human rights that we need to be addressing. Think about it right now. Here in America, you've got over 300,000 people that are homeless. Okay? Yet we sent $250 billion last year in foreign military aid to 2 wars we're not even in. That doesn't make much sense to me. And as a result of that, we saw the food prices here tonight go higher. We saw gas prices go higher, housing prices going higher. And now elderly people have to decide whether they're going to pay for their light bill or pay for their medication. It's in the United States. It shouldn't be that way. We say we're the greatest nation on the face of the planet. What are we the greatest at right now? Okay? Inflation. So I think when you start looking at that, to answer your question, yeah, I've run as a Democrat, but I've run as a different type of Democrat. I've always tried to be the one that gets people working together. That's why I take the best from both sides. If you're beholden to one of the major parties, you can't do that. Okay, so we'll keep going our path and see what happens with it.
Okay. Well, right now, I think independent people that claim to be independent,
Right,
is the largest block right currently.
56%, I believe.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yeah.
And if you look at past charts,
Mm-hmm.
NODA, which is none of the above, has won all the elections, like for the past 20 elections, with the exception of 2020. It was 34 for Biden, 33 for NODA, and 32% for Trump.
Right.
The problem, and then the question I have for you is, we have so many people that claim to be independent.
Yeah.
We have so many people, well, they're staying at home. The NODA stays at home.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get into the polling booth, they go and it's time for the rubber to meet the road.
Yeah.
I can't let him in office. I can't let her in office, whatever the case might be. And they flip the switch for one of the two major parties. How do you think you could get that mindset? Because look, we're in the same boat as you.
Right.
I'm having to tell people, like, voting for Chase Oliver is not a wasted vote. You got to quit giving them permission and approving all the nonsense they've done.
Yeah, and Chase and Mike are good. They're capable. They're competent. They would do a great job. What I think needs to happen is we've got to have a sitting senator or a sitting congressman that is a third-party individual or an independent turn around and run for president, and have the media coverage at that point to get that 56% out here that is NODA to actually jump on board. That's the ultimate goal. Right. Now, I've already said right here in the 6th District, I'm only seeking 2 terms. I'm seeking this term, and I'll run for re-election so that I can run for president again in 2028 as a sitting congressman. So I do plan on running again in 28 for president.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I guess my last question is, I also served in the Navy from 2000 to 2006.
Thank you.
And that's what brought me.
By the way, us guys,
yeah,
we'll go find you when you get lost in the Coast Guard. Yeah.
But what made me leave the Republican Party was because when I was in during 9/11,
right,
and you're saying, oh, we have to go and fight. And then it's like, when you really can't, when I got out in 2006, I started looking at the foreign policy. Mm-hmm. And that's what really, I started really losing faith in the Republicans. Right. I look over to the Democrats, they're no better.
They're no better.
And so my question to you is, like, which committees would you be seeking, since you're a vet? Are you looking to be on, like, the foreign, something to deal with that? Have you ever looked at committees that you could get on?
Yeah, I think I would be really, really good and strong in foreign relations, mm-hmm. Simply because I'm also a U.S. ambassador to the International Human Rights Peace Commission, and I'm their spokesperson. I've gone around the world. I've spoken in China. I've spoken in India, Africa, and Nigeria, Italy, Paris, France. I actually spoke in the Eiffel Tower, and I'm just a country boy from the South. But I actually spoke in the Eiffel Tower, okay? And all over the United States. So I've had the opportunity not only to speak there, but to meet with foreign leaders, government officials. Uh-huh. So I think that I would be a great fit for some of those type committees. I really do.
Okay. Andy, do you have a question? Does anyone else have a question sitting at the table?
Sure.
Yes. So I looked up your name.
Yeah.
And you're running for president, right?
As an independent, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I saw that, and I was looking over that, and it said one of the things on there is you believe that there's right to health care.
Yes.
Now, I would like to agree with that, but
right.
most people, when they say that, they mean something totally different from what I'm thinking about. So what do you mean when you say that there's a right?
Well, I'd like to see taxes and everything done away with, and basically us go to a completely different system than what we're in right now. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I talked to you about the Creative Society a little bit for a second, and some of that was a publicity stunt just to get us in front, get us trending, and in the, what is it called, the algorithm, where you get a bunch of views, and we did. We got millions of views on some of that stuff. But yeah, when it comes to healthcare, if we went to a completely different system, healthcare would not be a problem. Education wouldn't be a problem. Okay, it just wouldn't be a problem. And it kind of falls right in line with me being with the International Human Rights Peace Commission. There's certain things, human right wise, that I believe that every American should have right now. Healthcare, okay, food on their table. You shouldn't have to worry about education, but we do. We have to worry about that stuff, okay? And I just don't think that we should. You know, a lot of people get hung up on free college education. Why do they? Have you ever thought about that? You ever thought about why people get hung up on free college, but they don't get hung up on free education K through 12? You ever wondered why? It's because there's a bunch of elites out there that want to stay elite. And they think that if the ones that are the have-nots get the education, the smart ones that in the have-nots could take their place in the elite status. Yeah, okay, that could happen. But the whole system that we are in right now, education-wise, was set up over 120, 130 years ago. And back then, middle-class America, you could go to high school, get a high school diploma, husband could go work a great job, wife could stay home, have 2 kids, and they live perfect. Well, times have changed. You can't do that anymore. You got to have degrees. Both of them have to work, especially in the economy that we live in now. So if you think about it, you know, why wouldn't we, you know, try to make sure that our educational system is free too? Okay. One of the ways that I would pay for college without raising taxes, but make it free at all the state universities and colleges, I'd do this. Okay. We still today waste over $30 billion annually chasing down young people that smoke marijuana and put them in jail. You know that? $30 billion annually that our government agencies around do that. So imagine if first we decriminalized it completely across the country, like Obama did with Colorado back, I think it was 2014, in the midterm election. But completely decriminalize it, and then go and completely legalize it. And at that point, regulate and tax the industry, create another $30 billion annually. Now you got $60 billion right there sitting with you. Well, guess how much it costs at all the state universities and colleges to educate our young people? $60 billion. So you can make college free and then treat marijuana like alcohol, like it's kind of treated right now. That's what I would do. Now, do I smoke marijuana? No, I don't smoke marijuana. Do I drink alcohol? No, I don't. But you should have the freedom and the liberty to do what you want to do. Okay? And I'd like to put that back in people's hands instead of government saying we know better than you. So that's how I would do that. Now, as far as eliminating student loan debt, which is still an albatross over a lot of people's necks right now, what I would do is I'd look at the foreign aid, not just the past couple of years with Ukraine and with Israel, but I would look at all the foreign aid. And I don't want to cut off our nose to spite our face, but I'd push for legislation to cut that in half and then take the other half and apply it to the student loan debt. And once the government does that, it takes it away from all the individuals. It doesn't matter if the government has to take 100 years to pay it off. Does that make sense? Because then they're paying it, not us as individuals. It's just, I never understood how a government could have people take out student loans to better themselves, to make this country better, but yet the government actually profits off those people that do that. Doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah.
Well, my question was about health care.
I know, yeah. But when it comes to healthcare, again, same thing. Healthcare, education. We're the only Western industrialized nation that doesn't have it free. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, but then we also have like some of the highest quality in the world. People come here for procedures.
Yeah, but we got the highest cost too.
Yeah.
We got the highest cost. And right now, if you don't have health insurance and you have, let's say that you get cancer, or you have a major heart problem and you've got to have a transplant, where you're going to be bankrupt the rest of your life. You're going to lose everything to do that. I don't think that should be. I think that healthcare should just, be part of the deal of being an American.
It's the most heavily regulated and subsidized industry we have.
It's 1/6 of our economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Literally.
If it was not, if it was just
17%.
If it was unregulated.
Yeah.
And not subsidized, I think we would have a much more affordable system like we used to.
Well, I agree with that, but I think the whole system completely needs to be overhauled, including our money system. Okay, the whole fiat money system that we're on. Think about this right now, guys. Over 90% of the money right now is digital anyway. Y'all thought about that? Okay, it is. It's digital. And if we went back to backing it by gold, I don't think that's the answer. And here's why. Because then China would come in and say, give us all your gold. So what I would do is I'd embrace like Bitcoin and some of these other ones, something like that. And I would make it completely digital. It's already about 95% digital now anyway. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you got a paycheck in cash or an actual check? Okay, they just deposit straight into your account. It's funny money. It's not real. Okay? And then you take your debit card. How many of y'all paying with cash tonight? Okay, you're paying with cash. Okay, everybody else using their card, right? Digital. Okay? When's the last time you actually wrote a check to pay a bill?
Taxes.
Right. See what I'm saying?
Rent for me.
When?
Rent.
Rent. Okay. Yeah. Few people still do. Not many.
My mom's 70 and she still pays her checkbook on things.
Does she?
Yeah.
Well,
Which is
yeah.
fine. I don't judge her for it, but
Well, Mom Wells, my adopted mama that raised me, I just moved her here last month. She's living at Friendship here in Roanoke. I don't know if y'all know where
I know
Friendship
where that is. It's not far from me.
Yeah, it's literally about 6 minutes from here. She's 90. So the whole internet thing, Facebook, no, she's not. She couldn't do that even if she wanted to. She still has a little flip phone. Yeah. Smartphone, she couldn't do it. Yeah. Old folks, no, not gonna happen. I hope that kind of answered it.
How do you want to fix the homeless problem, especially in certain parts here in Virginia? And I say that because I originally from Martinsville, like I said, and they claim that we don't have a homeless problem. And the money needs to go to other things that are more community-based or for funding military people or that kind of stuff. And so my thing is, I'm coming from Martinsville, where I used to help people that are recovering.
Right.
And we had a center that was helping people try to get them on food stamps. We had to try to get Social Security, place to live that's subsidized and all that stuff, which is fine. I have no objection to that. But as soon as my friend left that because somebody was commenting about how black people are the problem in our community, because they smoke cigarettes on the sidewalks, and that's interfering with the public. And so now we just focus on people who are in recovery in this program, which is fine. But we don't help them anymore get food stamps, Social Security, all this kind of stuff. And it's really sad. So my question is, how do you want to fix the homeless situation that we have in certain areas like Martinsville, here in Roanoke? Because I was going to the gas station just the other day and I saw 3 people just sleeping out there.
Okay, so my campaign slogan is Rise Up. And the Rise Up movement would eliminate homelessness. Okay, and here's how. On any given day, you've got 300,000 or so people that are homeless in the United States. Most of them on the West Coast. In fact, 5 of the top 6 states are the West Coast, which is California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, Hawaii. Those 5 are in your top 6. Okay? Now, yes, we have a homeless problem over here too, but throughout the whole country, about 300 or so thousand. Now think about this. If we've got 300,000 or so homeless people, but we've got over 500,000 charitable organizations and churches, 501c3 status. What if you had an elected official that had a plan, okay, through the Rise Up movement, where he actually challenged every one of those churches and charitable organizations to build one, put the money up to build one home, okay? It would eliminate homelessness. And here's what I would do. I'd make them tiny homes out of the shipping containers. Real quick, real easy, okay? I'd set up neighborhoods in different, like you'd have Rise Up Roanoke, Rise Up Atlanta, Rise Up Los Angeles. Have you been to Los Angeles?
No.
Oh yeah, it's really bad out there, and so especially on the southeastern side of LA, they've shut down streets because people are living in the streets. Yeah, and they're trying to clean it up now. Gavin Newsom's trying to clean some of that up, but getting them off the streets is not the answer. Well, it's part of the answer. Getting them off the streets and giving them a home is part of the answer. But there's still more to it than that, because a lot of those people need some mental health help. Some of them need physical help, okay? A lot of them need to be integrated back into society. So the Rise Up neighborhoods that I want to create does all that, okay? It's not just the homes that are going to be there. We're actually and I want to do it in the bigger cities, simply because usually the bigger cities have like medical colleges and universities. And you can take your interns and have like a doctor's office type thing right there in the neighborhood where they can come and they can get some mental help. And it's really good for the interns because they're getting to work with people. They're getting to learn, okay? And then at the same time, make these neighborhoods like vertical farms. I don't know if you know much about vertical farming and like hydroponics and aquaponics. Have you heard about that? Okay. And actually growing their own crops, but enough crops that they could actually feed the entire city, not just their community. And that actually would integrate them back into society, because now they're actually farming, they're doing other things, you know. Actually, there's all sorts of things. If you work with different municipalities and cities as far as getting jobs, cleaning up the cities, you could actually use a lot of these people to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. You know.
That's a question. I'm a suicide survivor. I killed myself almost 12 years ago.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm high functioning autistic, although it's like being questioned by some people whether or not my mom wanted me just to get a diagnosis because she can accept the fact that I'm gay. That's fine. Whatever she wants to believe, that's fine on her. I don't really mind it. I used to, not anymore.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. How are we going to help people who are, let's just say, low functioning autistic, but they want to have employment, but because of them being on supplemental security, such as myself right now, and how do we graduate, because we don't have things like back in Temple Grandin's day, if you are familiar with her autism. You know, she went to a school that helped her with carpentry, woodworking, you know, that kind of stuff. And so we have things like that, like Woodrow Wilson Rehabilitation Center. Love that program. I'm all for it. And I tried to apply, but I was discarded, which is fine. But how are we going to help people that are on the lower functioning, that one, eventually have employment, like a Monday through Friday job, and be able to help themselves? Like, I mean, still receive that fixed income, but be able to keep, like, because I was telling Brian earlier, people that are on, like me, that are on a fixed income, can only keep up to $2,000 a month in their accounts.
Right.
If they make any more than that, they get cut off immediately.
Right.
Which means they lose their Medicaid or whatever insurance they're on, because they kept more than $2,000 in their account.
Right.
So my question is how are we going to help people like me that are autistic who want a job and can keep more than that $2,000 in their account?
And you should be able to, okay? And In a free market system, you should be able to do that.
Right.
But at the same time, there should be, because there's a lot of people that actually need the assistance and the help because they're not functioning like you are.
Right.
Because everybody's different.
Right. And I totally respect that, and I understand
Yeah.
that. I also know that you're not going to always agree with somebody based on their beliefs, or you're not going to always love somebody because they believe differently or whatever. But at least we have to be a human being and show that respect.
Right.
And like just have that common ground where accepting people's differences and respect that people are different.
Now, I'm going to throw
That's
something
how
at
we
you.
can help them.
I'm going to throw something at you right now, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we all know about AI,
Mm-hmm.
robotics, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That scares the crap out of me sometimes.
I'm sure it does. And you probably have not heard any candidates with a plan to deal with that.
Right. I have.
Okay. You want to hear my plan?
Sure.
Okay. So let me give you a little background of things I've seen. If you go to Houston, Texas right now, and you go to a couple of McDonald's restaurants, 100% robotic. There's no people working them. Now, let me ask you something. How long is it going to be for all those McDonald's stores are that way? Burger King, Wendy's, every other restaurant. Restaurants like this one right here, I've actually seen where the waiters are robots and they bring the food out. You can actually, they've got these little kiosks now. You can order your food from the table.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay at the table. Go to Applebee's, you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay? But they've got robots that'll actually bring it out. Well, if McDonald's already has the technology to actually make the food, how long is it going to be before these other ones do too?
Right.
So I think that within 10 to 15 years, 75% of the jobs that you see out there right now are going to be gone to AI and robotics. Okay? And that includes police work, that includes military work, that includes delivery services. We've already seen it with Domino's. They've got driverless cars now. They've got drones that deliver stuff to you now. Okay? Think about that. So my plan is this, a universal basic income for everybody, no matter where you are on the spectrum. Okay? Or if you're not on the spectrum.
Right.
Okay? A universal basic income. Now, this is going to sound like a lot of money, and y'all may laugh at this, but mine is $10,000 a month.
It's a lot of money now.
It is a lot of money. But let me tell you what that does, okay? You go to the completely new system that I was talking about, go completely digital. We're already on a fiat money system anyway. Well, let's just give people, instead of giving people enough that they can barely survive on, let's think about it. Most of us just barely survive. I do. I'm just a middle class guy.
Yeah.
Okay? So if we give people enough through the fiat money digital system, it's still fiat. Okay, but give people enough they can actually survive on. Now you're going to create a buying power across this country like you've never seen before. Okay? The jobs are going to be gone anyway. So if we don't go to that, guys, if we don't go to that, then it's going to be like The Walking Dead. Okay? The have-nots are going to be out here being the zombies, and they're going to be killing people for food. So we better have a plan. My plan's a universal basic income. You remember Andrew Yang? Andrew Yang talked about, now he won't only do $1,000 a month. I don't think $1,000 does much of anything for anybody. But it's about a $34 trillion deal each month to do that across the United States. But if you go digital, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much it is. Just do it. Do it where everybody's got enough that everybody can survive. And here's what else it does. If the jobs are gone, you got $10,000 a month. Now you can do what you want to do.
Yeah. And
Okay?
not have to report it to anybody and work for it.
Right, because you're doing away with taxes and everything. Okay? How do we keep up our infrastructure if we do that? They get their share too.
Right.
The government gets their share to do whatever they need to do.
I like Roseanne. I don't know why. She's just a funny comedian to me. When I remember when she revived her show, there was a situation that even though she was fired from her show because she was supposedly racist, they never looked back at the part where she was sitting in line at a supermarket in her sitcom.
Yeah.
And there was this Muslim woman, and she wanted to pay for her rotisserie chicken with her food stamps. And the cashier was like, "You can't buy that." And she goes, "Why not?"
Because it's hot.
It's food.
Yeah.
And Roseanne makes the comment. She goes, "You know how the government has their expensive mansion and their yachts. We can only buy pre-cooked chicken.
Right.
And that, to me, I'm on food stamps because I don't make enough at my job.
Yeah.
You know, I only work 1 to 2 days a week, sometimes 3, depending on if they need me. You know, I don't make, like, it's not that much an hour.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. You know, I make a certain amount for my fixed income.
Mhm.
But here's the thing, you know, food is food,
Right.
regardless of where it comes from. And I understand, like, you know, hot items could be considered luxury items. And that could be, to a certain degree, a reward or a treat. Hey, I was able to buy a rotisserie chicken to feed my whole family this evening, instead of getting one from the frozen and then heating it up in the oven, you know, to that effect. But food is food, and I just don't understand how, like, food stamps has to limit what is considered food and what isn't. For example,
I'm with
like
you on
that
that.
hot rotisserie chicken.
No, I'm with you on that. And that whole rotisserie chicken deal,
Yeah,
I've actually seen that with my mom because, you know, she's 90
yeah,
and she has food stamps too,
yeah,
because she gets Social Security, which is nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing. So people say, well, that sounds like socialism to me. Well, what's Social Security?
You know, I was just telling Brian, there's a different supplemental security, Social Security, supplemental security, disability income.
Right.
People with SSDI can work as much as they want, and they can make they don't have to
Yeah.
make a certain amount. They can still keep that money in their account and all that stuff.
Right.
And still make as much as they want on a job. If I wanted to get a paying job, like, I can only make $65 a month on my job.
Yeah. But you know,
And then, like, if I make anything more than that, then dollar per dollar is deducted from my income. And then if I quit my job, I have to owe Social Security back that money that I took from them.
you know what would happen if we went to a system like I'm talking about? Because we're going to have to, guys, because the jobs are going to be gone. No, just the opposite. Okay? Prices will be fixed. Think about inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is artificially placed upon us anyway. Okay? It's because of greed of corporate elitists that place it there. It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be there.
I mean, it's kind of this, it's inflating the money supply. So there's more money chasing the same number of goods. It's going to
Right.
everything.
But my point is, if you had fixed prices and everybody had the same kind of amount of money, I know it sounds like socialism, but if the jobs are going to be gone, you better have a plan.
And, you know, here's my thing. I also feel bad for your mom in a way. She's in a retirement place, right?
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
More than half of her check is going to where she's living. And she can't use, well, I'm not sure really
Oh,
the
listen.
situation. But more than, like, she can't even use more than any of that.
If it wasn't for her son,
Yeah.
she wouldn't be able to make it each
Yeah.
month. Yeah. Because I have to kick in.
Yeah, I have a brother who is trying to recover from alcohol and drug use.
Right.
And I don't trust him to take care of my parents when they get up in age. They're right now in their 70s.
Right.
Who's going to take care of them? Because they don't want to go into a nursing home or an assisted living home and die there. They want to die in the privacy of their own home.
Right.
Which is fine. But because I'm on a fixed income, I can't afford the health care or...
You can't afford to go help them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're stuck. You feel like you're in a system that's got you stuck.
Yeah.
And you are one of millions that feel that
And
way.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
Because there are people... Like I'm not saying I'm dependent on my income, but I'm telling Brian, if we got rid of Social Security, I would have been fine because there are people like me that can actually work full-time jobs, Monday
Yeah.
through Friday jobs, or
Right.
Sunday through Saturday, for 8 hours a day or something like to that effect.
Right.
But like if you're looking at somebody else that's in my situation that's nonverbal, what can you help them to do to make?
Well, usually the people that are on the spectrum, like my sister, okay, she was blind, she was partially deaf, but she could sit down and she could tear up a piano, and she could play in front of people, and they'd just be mesmerized.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Different people have different skills and they have different talents.
Yeah.
And-
we should reward them with
Yeah.
that instead of taking away their freedoms.
Well, that's what this system that I'm talking about would do, okay? Because think about it. If all the jobs are gone, we go to a universal basic income. Yeah, there may be a few people that are lazy, but people are going to get tired of doing that. They're going to want to get up and do. And now they've got the freedom to be artistic, okay? To go out and create to invent once again, and we can invent great things once again. Think about it. Like some of the great bridges that have been built here in the United States, but nothing recent. The Empire State Building was built. The Gateway Arch there in St. Louis, it was built. The Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. We got to get back to stuff like that. Well, how can we do that? Well, if you free everybody up where they can actually do what their passion is, okay, by embracing the AI and the robotics, you can actually do that. You can actually do that. Is it a perfect system? Nothing's perfect, man. Nothing's perfect. But it's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you. Anybody else? For the good of the order? Seriously, I do need some help. You got a question? Something else? You look like you were getting ready to say something.
I was just wondering about your universal basic income. So that's getting real crazy to take on that.
Mm-hmm.
Libertarian.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would really have that much effect on economics generally. But like at the level you said, I'm sure that would cause inflation because that's just printing extra money. Well, not printing it, but just digitally creating it.
Yeah.
So if suddenly everybody's
It would not, but if you go to that system, you have to fix the prices. And the only way prices can move is if they go down. You have to set that as your law. You really do.
Well, then how would that not create shortages? Milton Friedman would tell you that if you fix prices, you have shortages.
I don't see it that way. Now,
Well, if it costs more to make a loaf of bread than to sell a loaf of bread for, then nobody's going to make bread, and there won't be bread to buy. So it's a shortage.
people aren't going to have to make the bread. The machines are.
Isn't that basically how everything is now, in a way? Machines making everything.
Yeah.
Instead of,
Well, it still doesn't cost even with the raw materials and the cost of the
that's true.
It's still a cost. If you get below that, then you have a shortage.
There's some kinks that, of course, would have to be worked out. But I'm telling you, maybe somebody comes up with a better plan than $10,000 a month. Okay? The job's going to be gone. That's not me saying that. Okay? That's just looking. That's just. But can you remember back when we didn't have the internet?
Yeah.
It came around about 92, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was only 32 years ago. I can remember I just finished college and I saw the internet and I was like, wow.
Free porn. No, I'm kidding.
It was pretty cool though, you know? In fact, my father, my adopted dad, the minister, he was a part of the Exchange Club. It's kind of like the Rotary Club. And he invited me to come to a meeting with him. And I went, and the fellow that was there was talking about the internet. And he actually pulled it up and showed us the internet for the very first time I saw it. I remember it. Now, of course, Al Gore takes responsibility for that, he says. It's not.
I have a question about your universal income as well.
Sure.
We have places here in Roanoke.
Yeah.
Because I live in not necessarily a subsidized apartment complex,
Mm-hmm.
but they have places that are utility allowances, which
Yep.
means that you pay a certain amount from a previous tenant in your apartment, or you pay a certain amount and then social services will take care of the rest, or what have you, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is where do you see these certain bills, for example, electricity bills, like for, let's just say, first class citizens?
Free.
Oh, okay. Just curious.
Yeah, it'd be free in this system.
Okay. Just curious,
Yeah.
because there's some places, like the previous apartment that I was living in Martinsville, their utilities were included. Everything was included,
Mm-hmm.
trash, water, electricity, heat, whatever you wanted. And then I moved into this apartment, which is fine. And I was told I could pay anywhere from $50 to $150 in electricity, while everything else is included.
You ever thought about this? We're the only species on the face of this planet that pays for food, water, electricity. How long is it going to be before we're paying for air? Because we used to not pay for water.
All right, well, let's thank Robby Wells for coming here, speaking to us. Thank you so much. We'll get
Can I
this.
sit here and eat?
Oh, please.
Okay.
No, you gotta take it home with you.
Okay.
All right, thank you again.
Okay, kids, that was Mr. Robby Wells. I want to once again thank Robby and his team for coming out to the Roanoke Valley Libertarian meeting and speaking to the members. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any interest in helping him out or learning more about his platform, please go to runwithrobby.com. That's where you'll find all the information. You'll find the links to help him out. We don't have that much time. And for everyone that's been listening to the Maximum Libertarian podcast, I want to say thank you. Do all the easy stuff that's very, very simple to do and free. All you have to do is, you can go to our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel, like and share it. Click the 5 stars on if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or whatever goes on with the other podcast servers. And if you're on Podbean, follow us there and all that good stuff. So, my friends, until next time, I am Brian for Maximum Libertarian, and we will see you later.